Welcome to the pre-show of the A Show. We are going to start with our guest. Hopefully he can still make it tonight, but I'm April Hunter. This is Colin Wysong, and we like to do a little pre-song. We like to do a little pre-song before the pre-show. La 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 la.
Me,
La
me,
la
me, 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 me,
la
me,
la la
me.
la.
Is this going to be like our swan song, April?
We could go for it. Go ahead. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. We like to do a little pre-show chat about what's going in. Hey, Allie. Tin Goliath, what's up, dude? So yeah, we like to welcome you guys and chat about what's going on. And we were just talking about stuff, and I was like, we should actually have this on while we're waiting for Mike, because we are very excited to have Mike Indursky on tonight, and we will tell you more about him when he gets here. But for those of you who have been watching for a while, you'll know that I slaughtered. Is it Reuters last year?
Yeah,
They put
Reuters, I think it
Reuters, that's
is.
what I thought. Because they put out a headline saying it was the lowest birth rate ever. And I was like, that's not right. I'm like, that's bullshit. Hi, Chuck. And I was like, there's no way this is the lowest birth rate ever right now. Hello, Doug. Hi, Winona. So I took a lot of heat. I was like, this is a lie. This is false news. And like everybody picked up that Reuters headline saying the birth rate's lower than ever. I'm like, no, 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 no. Everybody and their mother and their daughter has a baby right now. That's not possible. Well, it turns out I wasn't wrong.
You're right. Like every other time, April, you were right.
I don't. What is that? What is that? I don't even know. I'm right pretty much 100% of the time now with all of this.
Everybody being locked up in their
I, I
houses.
don't I don't know what it well, I have these visions and these things, and I'm like, I can see the bullshit. And the worst part about being right is when you know something and you tell people and you have no explanation as to how you just know, and you can't prove it. And the only way to prove it is time. So you know that it'll come out in time. It'll come out in months,
hmm
years. You know it. But in the meantime, all those people around you are going to think you're a crazy bitch who's an alarmist. And that's what I've been dealing with like people around me. And it drives me nuts. So then you start having this chip on your shoulder. Like, I have this chip on my shoulder. It's like, I get these headlines where it's like, oh, yeah, actually, the birth rate's really high right now. And I'm like, send in the headline. I'm like, here's the scientific study. You made me feel like shit. Like, I don't normally care what people think about me, except for my little inner circle of people. But my little inner circle of people will often make me feel bad because they're like, no, April, you're being an alarmist and you're being pretty negative. I'm like, no, I'm not. You guys should listen to me. I told you guys to be prepared. I told you to. They're like, 2021 was awful. Fuck 2021. 2022 is going to be so much better. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, no, that's not how I'm seeing it. I said, if the patterns are correct, the way I'm seeing it, that's when the economy is going to hit us real hard. So get prepared and buckle up, because 2022 is going to be so much worse than 2021. They're like, oh, you and your negativity. I don't want to hear. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just warning you.
It's
Shoot the
it's the
messenger.
it's the repercussions, April, of churning $60 trillion out of nowhere, just creating money out of nowhere. If we just had that power, and you're seeing it in the stock market as well as uh, defensive stocks like Walmart and Target, losing 20, 10, 15, 20% in a day after earnings and stuff like that, because they're trying to eat the inflation costs so that they don't pass it down to the consumers.
They
So
are passing
ultimately,
it
they're
down.
going to have to pass it down
They are
to us.
pass. They're
Yeah.
already passing it down. Like, we went over to MegaCon this weekend, and for pretty much the first time ever, they made everybody, even people in the business, me too. They made us all pay for tickets to get in, full price.
Wow, really?
And it gets even better. I was pissed. I said something. I was in there. I said something to an artist friend of mine, and he's like, I got one better. He goes, we paid for our booths, and they still made us pay for parking. They made the people setting up who paid
Wow.
all this money for booths. They still made us pay for parking. I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, they couldn't run for 2 years to try to make it up with all
Yeah,
of us.
that makes sense.
And I
Yeah.
was like, and then they oversold the convention, and it was miserable for everyone. Like you were elbows to titties. You know what I mean? It was just like, I can't breathe. So it was, yeah, yep. Hey, Wolf, Steven, Cam. Hi, Chris. Who am I missing there? Hello, 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 everybody. Winona Speedway. Hi. So it's nice to see you guys. Hey, Doug. We're just chatting and talking about
Cam wants you to come do some hot girl shit with him and the strippers
of course he
tonight.
does. Cam, take a number. But can they do this?
Can they peck Twitch
Actually, the
like
ones he
April
hangs out
Hunter?
with probably can. Oh man. Yeah,
That's
MegaCon
funny.
was not a pleasant experience, and I hate saying that about any convention. I really do. And maybe it'll be better next year, hopefully. Hi, cool, awesome dude. But I went for George Perez's memorial service. Now that was actually really nice. It was very pleasant. It was some of his family was there. A lot of the people from the industry and the comic industry was there. So that was pretty cool. So that made up for being elbows to assholes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's there's a silver lining in all of that there at
yeah,
MegaCon. Even though you were down there for a somber moment, the at least George Perez could still bring like
yeah.
some joy to your weekend.
But you know what? It wasn't. It was very actually. They were celebrating his life, and it was a very joyous life. So it was pretty cool. And they're asking, "How are you feeling, Colin?"
I
Welcome
was
back.
about to answer them in the chat. I am feeling better. Starting to eat solid foods, getting
Tell
off
them.
that water diet.
Yeah, why don't you tell
So
them what's
yeah.
been a little bit of, do you want to tell them what's been going on a little
Yeah,
bit?
well, I didn't talk about it much on one of the other shows, but I guess we talk about health and beauty here and stuff like that, April. So this is something that we should kind of pass on. I, th- a lot of Americans' diets are low in fiber, and one of the things that happen, the wrestling fans here know of Brock Lesnar and diverticulitis, that type of issue where you kind of the intestinal lining and stuff like that in your stomach and your colon begin inflamed and all that type of stuff. Well, similar thing has happened to me, and it just took its turn for the worst on Saturday. I was just a lot of pain. It was pain I didn't feel in other areas, hadn't felt before, basically. And went to the hospital. They told me it was like diverticulosis, something like that, which it's like kind of like the start of diverticulitis. And I went on to like the Mayo Clinic website because I've had something similar like this before. Looked at changing your diet, and it says when you get a flare up like this, go straight liquid diet. So water, chicken broth, really easy to eat foods, that type of stuff. Popsicles, things that you can kind of get down, Jello. Um, and you want to slow down on the fiber. I know Cam's in here is like, you got to eat that fiber. Yes, but when you have
Not
the
all at
flare
once,
ups,
though.
yeah, not all at once.
You want to
You
ration it.
yeah, you wanna slowly work it in. So the
Yeah.
first 4 or 5 days, I was trying to eat soup and some vegetables and things like that. So, 5, 6 days of a water diet. Yeah, that's not fun. And then, slowly starting to work in other foods. So it's getting there. We're getting better. It's kinda nice, though. I feel like everyone should reset their diet every once in a while because then you can slowly start to work things in, and you can really see what affects you and what doesn't affect you, what kind of gives you more energy, what brings you down through the day when you eat it, that type of things. And that's kind of what I'm
Mhm.
experiencing now as I eat certain things, I can tell what kind of how I feel the next day after what I ate and that type of thing. That all right, so I need to put that on the list of things to eat. And as we talked before the show, cheese not on the list of things that I should be eating.
Oh, I would be crushed. I would be crushed. Yeah. And it says intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, I've been doing that inadvertently my entire life. And a lot of people are like, oh, you can't eat before bed. Yeah, you can. I eat right before I go to bed because if I go to bed hungry, I'll stay awake. But you fast through the next morning until like lunchtime. So it depends on what you're eating before bed. So
Mhm.
you can eat before bed. You just should stick to proteins and fats,
Yeah.
vegetables.
Yeah,
So
Terry Crews is known for that. He doesn't eat I think he eats from like 12 p.m. till like 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. He doesn't eat. If his family goes out to breakfast at 7:30,
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning, he's drinking coffee or having some water or something like that. He's not
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah. I eat like 2 or 3 in the afternoon till 2 or 3 in the morning because I'm a night person. So, yeah.
It is
Yeah.
hard though, because I'm just like, oh, there's a
It's
McDonald's. It's
not.
just so easy. No, it's because it's like time, right? So like I kind of have to like work my diet and figure out what I'm gonna make and kind of prepare and think ahead, right? And with me, I'm on the go a lot and I'm in one place and there, I can't really um in the kitchen, I can't experiment like I want to because we just
Mm-hmm.
have one giant oven. That's it. Like, I don't really have like things I could cook, right? So for me, it's a little harder to try to prep things. So I might not eat as much at work, or I might go down to the Chinese restaurant and get some pho.
Mm-hmm.
I love Vietnamese pho. Oh my gosh, the chicken pho is some of the greatest soup in the world that you'll ever eat. If you have a banh mi place in your town,
Oh, I love banh mi.
go get some banh mi and some pho. Oh, you'll be in love. But
Yummy.
oh yeah, I'm
Yep.
glad I feel full now. I haven't felt full in like 3 or 4 days, April.
We're glad you feel full too. I have some energy for this. Yeah, Ramadan. Yeah, it's funny. I learned about Ramadan a few years ago on a Comic Con where I learned about most things.
Mhm.
And there was a guy working across from me who was going through Ramadan while working the Comic Con, and he looked like he was going to fall over. He was so exhausted. And I was like, dude, he explained it to me, and then I looked it up. I was like, there's an exception if you're working long days. And he's like, no, I'm a good Muslim. I'm not going to eat. And I'm like, but you can. He's like, but I'm not gonna. Like, no eating, no drinking, nothing until sundown. I was like, but you can. I'm like, you're gonna fall over. But the point of Ramadan, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Cam, but I love the concept of it because as a people, especially Americans, we're not the most empathetic. So until something happens to us, sorry, I'm like punching the thing. I apologize, you guys. I have to stop talking with my hands so much. It's like the Guido in me is like, can I say that now? Yeah, kind of. It's me, right? So the idea of Ramadan is to abstain from sunup to sundown so that you know what it feels like to be hungry, so that you have sympathy when someone comes to you and they're hungry. Because in the Muslim religion, it's against Muslim law to not to turn down someone who's starving, to not feed them, not give them a meal. And
April,
I love that.
I just
But
realized something that's quite funny, but it's not funny.
what, my tits are
Um,
hanging out and I'm talking about that?
no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
okay.
You would see the number in that corner there just shoot up drastically. I wrote Tuesday, May 23rd.
Uh-huh.
Today's the 24th.
Okay.
So when I sent him the same banner that I sent you, right? With Tuesday, May 23rd
Yes,
on
you
it.
did.
But I don't know why I just looked at my phone and was like, oh shit. I told him in our messenger that the 23rd, I just wrote the 23rd of May at 7:30. But on
Oops.
the image I sent him, it said Tuesday, May 23rd. So now I'm like, oh crap. He was probably waiting for me to send him something yesterday.
Oh, damn.
And I haven't heard back from him. So yeah.
Oh, damn. Well, I guess we have to start the show then and then figure this out. This could be like a wrestling thing where you fuck it up in the ring and you just keep going. That's what we're gonna do. We fucked up the finish, so let's just keep rolling with it. Start the music.
I don't even have the music ready.
Oh man. Good evening. As you probably heard in the pre-show, we fucked up. We fucked up. I am your host, April Hunter, and my co-host and producer, the wonderful Colin Weissong. So welcome, everyone. We're going to have a fun show tonight with or without Mike Indursky. To you, Colin. I even wore it's 98 degrees here in Florida, and I wore his hat. He gave me a hat, and I did his mask. Hear me raw, and I did his other mask, and this stuff's actually really nice. And look how glowing I am.
It's
I
an
feel like my
all
skin is
vegan
glowing.
product, right? Like
It's
it's
actually really
very.
nice. Yeah.
Have you ever used it before?
Uh, Players like I've been here since the 23rd. It's about time. Yeah, we screwed up. I'm sorry. I have not ever used this stuff before, and I have used some of the raw vegan things before, but I'm like one of those people that I don't care if it's vegan or not vegan. I'm just like, does it work? If I've put my money into it, does it work? So I started with the detoxifier last night. It was like a 10-minute mask, and I was like, okay. I put that on, and then I posted a picture of it on Instagram, and I immediately realized that I have redheaded eyelashes like there aren't any when I have no makeup on. So I'm looking at myself on Instagram with no makeup on and the mask. I'm like, I've got no eyelashes in a world where everyone's getting eyelash extensions. Oh well, keeping it real. And then after that, I was like, I'm just going to keep going. So I slapped this one on too. I'm like, oh, this one was nice too. And I put it on, and my face looked all hydrated and nice. And I was like, oh, I'm going to look so lovely for tomorrow.
That's nice. Yeah.
For our guest that isn't here.
Yeah. I'll
Hey,
probably
Dark
email him
Links.
later and just apologize and be like, we can reset another time, and I will double check and triple check the date. And it's probably too my bad on not getting in touch with him earlier to smooth things out on that. Last week was definitely a barn burner of a week.
Yeah, well,
Me.
I know you were in the hospital. So what's up, Dark Links? You have a legit excuse. You were in the hospital. So I was actually surprised to see you on here at all. And hi, Larry. What's up? I like my hat too. It's like I got a little care package from Hear Me Raw. I was like thrilled to death. I got all this cool stuff in a hat, and I was like, I'm not doing my hair today. I'm just doing this. Boop. It's done.
That's what I do every week. I'll get out of the shower and I throw the beanie on, and you don't see the craziness that I have going on under
Right?
here.
Yeah, I can always wear a wig too. But it's hot to do that here in Florida though. Anything on your head, it's like hot. So
Yeah, we were discussing humid heat and dry
bleh,
heat, and
bleh,
I would love to just go visit
bleh.
Arizona one time to know what dry heat is compared to 70 degrees, and you walk outside and you're just sweating from every orifice on your body.
Okay, so I lived in Vegas for a long time, and I used to do a lot of shoots in all over New Mexico, Arizona. The majority of my earlier work, you'll see me in a desert somewhere. What that feels like in the summer is when you open your oven door.
Ooh, okay,
And it
okay.
blasts you. It's still freaking hot. So I understand like women are more sensitive, or generally they say women are more sensitive to humidity, men are more sensitive to heat. So when you get 118, 120 degrees of heat out there, you're still gonna feel it. It's still gonna knock you on your ass. So versus 78 degrees and humid and like 90, 2% humidity here, it's like you can't breathe because the water's laying on you and you can't cool down because it won't evaporate. So yeah. So
Yeah, it's humid there in Texas as well for Larry.
oh, Texas is disgusting. Yeah, I used to live in a little RV, and I remember in between weeks we would stay somewhere, and I remember staying in certain areas of Texas where it was just like the air was so thick, and sometimes it was only like 76 degrees, but it was still disgusting. Like
Yeah.
you walk out and everything's just wet.
You just feel this stickiness on you the whole entire time
Yeah.
you're outside.
You're like
Yeah.
this, and your arm sticks to your arm. It's like, I can't. I'm sliding off. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I feel so gross. I need another shower. And you take a shower on Tuesday and you dry off on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Florida's like that. It's disgusting. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Florida weather. Florida weather. It's like, I'm going to rain. I'm going to be really sunny. I'm going to rain.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really sunny.
Yes. It's literally, I don't want to say it, but it's literally bipolar weather, but hey. Fuck it. I can say it. I'm bipolar. You can't. No kidding. But, yeah, here, this weather is crazy, but I will say that the sea salt air is different than some of the other humidity because it's like it's better for your hair, it's better for your skin, it's better for your breathing. So I thought I was gonna hate it and feel like crap with asthma down here, and I kind of haven't. So I feel like I've aged slower being here. So been here like 12 years, and I feel like being wet all the time is like being dipped in oil all the time or something. I don't know.
Just slowly being
I'm
preserved.
like, ugh.
That's
I
that's funny.
feel gross, but my skin still looks good. So I guess there's that.
I've heard that like people that go on cruise ships, their skin, if they're out there for like a week or two, their
Mhm.
skin goes through this change because you're just out there and there's nothing but salt in the air. And the first few days they'll break out, and then
Mhm.
their skin will just be clear and everything because of the salt just
Brings it all
cleansing
to
their
the
pores and
surface.
it gets it all out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you come back with just the most gorgeous looking skin after a 2-week cruise.
it makes sense. I mean, they say salt cures a whole lot. Salt baths, salt lamps, salt everything, salt air. So it's one of those mystical things people swear by that
Hmm.
we still don't know about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, welcome everybody. It's nice to see you guys here. I'm sorry we don't have a guest for you. It's just us tonight, I guess. But we are happy to see you. So thank you for being here last week when we weren't live. You watched one of my favorite episodes. If you hung in there, I love Laurie and I love the dream episode. So thanks for catching that again. Someone said all this hot weather in the south keeps making me sweat like a fountain. Yeah, no kidding, right? Salt scrubs, yes. Salt keeps the evil spirits away. I've heard that too. That's a big thing in the occult community. I think in all spirituality with the
Yeah.
salts. It's like candles are a big thing in all spirituality realms.
Because don't they use the salt for like forming things? Like you pour the salt to make boundaries and
Yeah.
other little things. Like it's got some kind of mineral properties and stuff like that. April, I don't know if you have any backup stories or anything like that, but I've got one here from NPR.org.
I
Uh,
do have a couple that I wrote down. I'm looking at my little book here filled up. So I've got some stuff that I was gonna mention, but go for it.
well, this one here is get ready for another destructive Atlantic hurricane season. So I'm sure you're excited to hear about this one.
Yeah.
As it looks like there's going to be more hurricanes and tropical storms than usual during this year's hurricane season. They predict a total of 14 to 21 storms will grow large enough to be named. So we're close to getting through the whole alphabet
Mhm.
with 20 21 plus storms.
We're just
And
bringing the good news, aren't we?
yeah, right. And of course, of those, forecasters expect 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 6 of which will have sustained wind speeds above 110 miles per hour. So they're kind of setting us up for about 3 or 4 big storms this year. It seems like.
Or they're setting up the ratings for the Weather Channel, one or the other. We're not sure yet.
It's true. Yeah,
You
get
can't
ready to
tell these
watch
days.
hurricanes all day.
Yeah. So, yeah, I said about a week ago, and I hate having said this. And again, this is, you guys know me by now. I'm a proud conspiracy theorist, truth seeker, journalist, whatever you want to call it. I said a week ago that we were going to see a rash of shootings all over. And I could be wrong. And I'm not taking away from those shootings and the violence. I think that they're very real. But I think what's going to happen, here is my theory. I think this is going to happen for whatever reason, whether it's false flag or whatever, because, okay, I think the idea is for gun control. And part of gun control, I think, will be mental health. I think it will be attached. So in order to get a gun or keep a gun, I think you will have to have a good mental health record. I think that's what they're aiming, no pun intended, to use in the future with all of this. And I think they'll do anything now to do it. And here's why. The only thing standing between full government control and us are guns and the internet. And if you've been paying attention this year to every other place in the world, you've seen that the unarmed places like Australia, China, Cuba, they have turned off the internet and they have taken them and beaten them in the streets and killed their pets and done horrible, horrible things to them. Do not take my word for it. Go look that up on your own. Use a privacy browser. Go look at what has been done to them. They can't do it to us because we're armed, or as foreigners would say, gun crazy, which we do have too much going on. I mean, we do. We have too many shootings, too much stupid shit. And usually it's not the law-abiding citizens that are doing this stuff. The ones who are going about it the right way and getting their license and learning how to use it, it's usually not them. It's the people who are, 3D printing them out and buying them on the black market. And gun control is not going to do anything to them. It's just not. They're not the ones following the rules anyway. So if there were a rash of shootings across the United States, right, especially aimed at kids, you'll take a very unpopular idea, gun control, and get the people behind you. It's not like it hasn't been done before. MK Ultra, Reichstag building. It's not like it has not been done before with flaming success. So that's how you get the people to back you. So pay attention to the bigger picture, who has what to gain. We know that the government does not give two fucks about us, and they are okay with throwing us under the bus and sacrificing us. They don't care about our lives. Safe and effective, they don't care. So they're in this, all of it, for control, money, profit. That's what they care about. They don't care about our health. There was not one iota of time, marketing, nothing spent during COVID telling us how to actually be healthy.
Yeah, that's
true. There was never any effort made saying, here's the happy 5. These are the 5 things you need to do to raise your own immune system. You should make sure you get enough sleep, manage your stress, make sure you're getting some movement, eat whole foods, and I don't know, something. Take your zinc and your vitamin D. Do that and raise your own immune system. There was never any of that. It was always, you're going to die. You're going to end up on a respirator. You have to get the jab. There was just that. That was a 6-foot distance, which of course, 6 foot's right out of the heart math span of connecting with people. 6 foot distance, wash your hands. We all heard that nonstop. And you must get vaccinated. That's all. And the amount of times we heard those things, they could have actually spent some time, effort, and energy educating us. They could have made little programs on TV, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here, with little exercise programs. Here's what you can do in 10 minutes. Here's what you can do in 20 minutes. Here's a little yoga program. Here's a little step aerobics program. Here's what you can do with stuff around the house to work out if your gym's closed. Did they do any of that? Fuck no, because they don't want you healthy. They want to strip you of your health and then sell it back to you.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing right now. And they're talking about outlawing glutathione. I think it's June 5th. Is they're coming together to the FDA wants to get rid of glutathione, which is one of the most healing supplements you could take. It's also anti-aging. So if you're able to heal yourself and slow down your aging, then you're able to fight off some diseases there.
Yeah, it looks like NAC supplements. So,
NAC, they made that illegal. So that's one of the most healing supplements you can have too. They've always been after the supplements. I've been fighting this since I was in my 20s. I remember going and doing all kinds of, it's funny too, people think that virtue signaling is actually work. No, you go out and you get the petition signed and you go find the people. I've been doing this since I was in my 20s. Well, it's crazy what is going on. And the people can't see it and they won't admit it. And they think, sure, it sounds crazy. Maybe it does sound crazy. Maybe I sound crazy. But think about what it sounds like if someone told you you'd be living like this today, 3 years ago. You would think that person's batshit crazy too.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen like that. But here we are.
So should I go for the mad rush on glutathione like everybody did when they banned ephedrine? Do you remember the mass rush on ephedrine that everybody was buying out GNC and everything
Yep.
when
Because it worked.
it's like they got rid of Quaaludes. I wonder if that was like that when they got rid of Quaaludes. Was everybody like rushing to go get all the rest of the Quaaludes before they just disappeared
I
off the
know.
shelves and you could never get them again?
So here's a thought for you guys. Okay. 2 years now, all the stuff's been going on, and COVID and the vaccines have left us broke and broken. And everybody has mental health issues. We all do. I do. You do. All of you do. We all do. Everyone's got anxiety, depression, all kinds of stuff going on. We all do. Except now. Now there's a record of it. We've all admitted it. We're all doing therapy. We're all trying to get into therapy. We're doing online therapy. We're all on record at some point or another with our mental health. So that can be used against us to get a gun, to renew our license, any of it. That is the most perfect way to disarm us. Be careful.
Another thing too, April, is that it could all coincide as well with like if they make marijuana illegal, a lot of states, if you smoke marijuana or you have marijuana in your system, you're not supposed to own a gun. You're not allowed to have a gun.
Florida is one of them.
That's one of those things where, okay, well, you want your weed, you're not gonna have guns if you're smoking your weed and you got your medical license and all that type of stuff too. So it's like we'll give you these things, but we're gonna need to take a little something for you to get these things that you want, or we're just gonna force it on you, kind of thing.
Yep. So if you look at other heavily armed countries, like you look at Sweden, which they've always been heavily armed. The reason they stay neutral was because they couldn't be taken with Germany. Germany was like, wait, hang on, everybody's armed and they all know how to use it. Fuck this. Because mandatory arming works. If you know every household has a gun, are you going into that household? Fuck no, you're not going to that household. The majority of gun crimes happen where there aren't any guns. So because people like easy pickings, they like victims. So I'm always the person saying, no, we don't need less guns. We need more guns. We need every household to have one, and we need people to be responsible with them, lock them up, know how to use them, maybe do biometrics where it works with your thumbprint. So that type of thing, which somebody argued with me and said, the amount of time it takes for a thumbprint, you could be dead by the time it registers, which I thought, that's a valid point there.
They don't always work. Trust me. I used to use the fingerprint thing on my iPhone, and if it was in a certain case or set in a certain way, my thumb would not.
Mine doesn't either because I crack and peel from washing my hands so much, and my thumbprint doesn't register, or it's different all the time.
Yeah, it would never work for me. So I don't even do the face thing. Like, I don't want anybody to be like, oh, okay, all right, we're in your phone now.
Yeah. So what Sweden does have that we don't have is universal health care with mental health access. So, these are things that we need to be aware of. There's a gray area out there. Yes, when guns are illegal, only the bad guys have them. And this is true. If you make things harder to get, you're going to make fewer people able to defend themselves. So just thoughts. These are thoughts. These are observations from somebody who has had a really good track record of being correct. And if you go back and look at all the podcasts and all my blogs and everything I've written on Facebook and everything I've predicted, you will see that. But yeah, and one of us says, whether you like him or not, Trump tried to warn us all this was going to happen, but he was labeled insane. And you're right. And I don't like him, and I never have liked him. I couldn't wait to see the back of him. But now I'm going back and I'm reading articles from 2020 and different things that he said. And it's funny, there's almost like this knee-jerk reaction if I share it. Because nobody was more anti-Trump than me. Like, I could not stand him. But we also have this emotional reaction to things. Like, we tie ourselves to that. to where people won't even read an article if his name is in there. Same with Biden. Like, we don't have the ability to be fair. We're very, very biased, and we don't admit that. So I shared an article the other day. It might have been, yesterday, about 2020. Trump was saying all these things, and I was like, this is an interesting article. You should read it. People are like, oh, it's Trump. He's an idiot. I can't stand him. Everything that comes out of his mouth is lies. And he said this. And I was like, well, I didn't see any of that in the article. Like, I didn't even read the article. And I'm like, this is why we can't get anywhere as a country. They're successfully dividing us, and you're allowing it to happen. Like, stop being so one or the other. I don't like Biden either. I voted for him, but I don't like him. I feel like I definitely have the right to criticize him because I voted for him and I think he's fucking shit up. So if you can stop being emotional and be way more logical about things and just look at the words and the facts without emotion, we could actually maybe get somewhere. But we are biased and we do have reactions instead of responses. And this is a problem. That's why we can't have conversations. And gun laws won't change anything. Mental health does need to be addressed. You're right, Playa.
Well, Playa made another good point too, April. The way they were getting us with gun control
ammo
was
shortages.
the ammo shortages and the price of ammo going up.
Yeah.
Talk about inflation. The price.
Yeah.
Look at the price of ammo just like 10 years ago compared to now, and it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
How expensive ammo is now for your guns.
Okay, so you guys need to understand this with the media. Okay. Let's go through this again one more time. I know you probably know this, the people who are here in the chat, but for future people watching this, I don't know how many people really truly understand this. I know people are getting more educated and smarter, and thank God. But the media, I think it's a 5 now or 6. 6 is it 6 companies, or now we're down to 5 own the media?
I think 5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were 6, and we might have gone to 5. That's how many corporations own everything we see, read, and hear, except for it's like 90%, except for that little 10% of stuff like this. And they can push us out anytime they want. So everything you read, see, and hear, every headline, every website, every news channel, every magazine, every radio show, they own it all. And these are the same corporations that own pharma. You'll see sponsored by Pfizer. They own the food industry. They own big tech. They're all in it together, and they can fear us and steer us in any direction they want. And more often than not, their parent company is BlackRock or Vanguard. If you start following the money, you'll see it all goes to the same place. So their management companies are BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock has been responsible for our housing issues, among other issues. Blackstone, which is a division of BlackRock, that was the expose story I put out there that everybody finally picked up, was the catalog, the company that bought Neil Young's catalog. And many other rock artists. I was the first person to break that one. Thank God they ran with it, because my stories got all deleted, pulled down. I was accused of this, that, and the other. They buy artists. They invest in different things. Blackstone bought Neil Young's catalog and forced him to get pulled off of the Joe Rogan station, the what do you call it? Spotify.
Yep.
Blackstone is partnered with Pfizer. They've been partnered with Pfizer for a long time. So this is all hand in hand. So they will use what they have to manipulate you. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated.
Well, you want to know what some of the manipulation that's coming soon. So, of course, our economy is going to crap, right? And in 2021 in January, we had the meme stock craze, right? GME, AMC ran up to crazy numbers. People were like millionaires. They took the buy button away. There's a lot of craziness that happened on that day, April, with the stock market. And one of the companies that was involved in a lot of that with GameStop, they recently just closed their doors. Melvin Capital, they just closed down. They got shut down because he's not going to get in it anymore. Now, what they were doing is they were shorting companies. And they were basically like, if they go and find companies that aren't good or could use some change, they'll basically bet that the stock is going to go down in the company. And that's how they got rid of Toys R Us. They basically ran Toys R Us all the way
Mm-hmm.
down to the ground. And then what they do as short sellers is they put the debt on the company, and they get all the debt off themselves. They've made all this money, and then the company goes into bankruptcy and folds and disappears. And then the short seller just walks away with all his money, looking for the next company to short into the ground. Well, this is Citadel, who the owner, head president of Citadel, one of the biggest firms, much like Vanguard and BlackRock. This is Ken Griffin, and he is taking full responsibility for the actions that happened with Melvin Capital. Just kidding. He's not taking any responsibility. Let's listen.
These retail investors, though, are they back? Was it a black swan? Is it something?
You mean the whole sort of meme stock phenomenon that got Gabe in trouble in GameStop last year?
Yeah.
It's probably a moment in time. Replay the history. You've got this enormous stimulus program from the federal government, sending checks to tens of millions of American households. And a fair number of those households did not need the cash. They put it into the stock market. And people were looking for connection. They were looking for something to be involved in. You had the rise of the Wall Street bets and the whole Reddit phenomena. And I don't want to say our stock market devolved into entertainment, but there was certainly an entertainment dimension that came into play with money that was in some sense just dropped out of the skies into people's wallets. And they took a run at the stock market and GameStop and AMC and dozens of other meme stocks. I like to think it was a moment in time. I like to think that's the case. It's not how capital formation works best. And frankly, a lot of it came from a place that I don't think it was very healthy, which is like, let's try to take a firm like Melvin and put them into bankruptcy. Like, great. So you basically help wipe out the pension plans of teachers. You feel good about that? It's not Gabe's money that you're taking down. You're taking down the money of a pension plan that belongs to a teacher. So I don't think it wasn't a very good moment in American capital markets history. But I think you have to replay history and go, where were we as a country? And people were locked up in their basements, kind of losing their minds.
Look, the man's of Citadel, who is richer than all of us in this chat room and on this Twitch combined, basically chalking it up to you, the person at home who put your money in GameStop and AMC, lost all those teachers their money. It wasn't us. And you like how I played it with short sellers, they like to drive things into the ground.
Yeah.
What happened to Melvin? He just got what happened to him, but he was gambling with teachers' monies, and it's not his fault. And it's not going to be their fault. It's going to be our fault when the stock market crashes. And
it's always our fault. It's never their fault.
Yep. Just like in 2008 when they were laughing from their balconies during the housing bubble at everyone down at below them. They're just popping champagne and laughing at all the poor people.
So why people are not more angry and doing something about it is beyond me. And I'm not saying like crazy angry. I'm saying controlled angry. Like
we're going to round you up and arrest you, and we're going to hold you accountable.
But here's the thing. People don't understand this. We are the collective. We have the power. There's more of us than them. And what's brilliant is we are armed. So we have taken this country in history multiple times. We can do it again. If we got together, if we actually got together, and if we united, a revolution would take about 32 seconds, maybe 35 if some of y'all were slow.
That's why they were afraid of Occupy Wall Street.
That's why they're afraid of everything. That's why they're keeping us divided using race, gender, pregnant men, all that bullshit. And people are fucking falling for it. They're watching Johnny Depp instead of paying attention to what's going on in front of them. Stop being fucking stupid, people. Open your eyes. Okay, you can watch Johnny Depp too. It is kind of crazy. But seriously.
Yeah, I heard something about that today and on some show I was listening to where I guess he leaned in and they were talking about how he's got a jar of Coke, and he leaned in and was like telling his lawyer it's like a jar of sand, and they were like laughing about it. And then they played the clip of him actually saying that, and like there's a shot of him when he's Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's like, it's a jar of sand, like do it in the it's a jar of sand. So like he basically just used a line from one of his movies in court.
Yeah.
To get away about his jar of cocaine.
It's a zoo, and people are like, people don't want education, they want entertainment.
Johnny Depp's best performance in years.
It's brilliant. He's got some pretty good performances. They do. They don't want education, they want entertainment. That's why they call Washington ugly Hollywood. So it's disgusting. It's all disgusting. And then if you actually speak out and try and make people aware, you're the crazy one. You're an alarmist. So, yeah, I don't think we're in a recession. I think we're actually in a depression. I think this is the hardest. I think we're just about there because now we're actually having to cut back on things. You know, when we were in a recession, 2008, people were trying to call that a depression. I'm like, people are buying flat screen TVs and new sneakers. We're not in a depression. Now people are not buying flat screen TVs and new sneakers. Now we're in trouble. So you got to be careful. Speaking of that, thank you to everybody who has subscribed on here and is still on here and supports what I do. It matters. You matter. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So very, very much. So, but yeah, it's frustrating. And I see you from Leesburg out there. Hello, hello. Yes, I will be in Leesburg at the start of June, and then I'm back in Tampa for Tampa Bay Screams. I'll be at Lake Collecticon, so I'm doing some appearances coming up. I hope to see some of you live. And Wolf said, I was talking to a friend of yours, Bambi Weevil. I love Bambi. So yeah, you should go to that event. But yes, we should not be divided. If we take nothing away from any of this except for one thing, just one thing, please know that you are being manipulated using all your triggers. They know your triggers. They've taken a page out of the WWE playbook. They're using news for emotion, not education. So you're being emotionally manipulated to go against your friends, your family, perfect strangers. Why would you hate somebody you don't know? Why would you fight with people on Twitter? Strangers.
In family relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you disown your best friend or your cousin? Think about how powerful that is. If a company can make you stop talking or block somebody you have cared about, who has cared about you. They can make you do that shit. That's manipulation. That is powerful for them, not you. You're losing. We're losing.
Yeah.
They're winning.
And in all honesty, it's not that far. I'm 37. So I remember growing up playing in the 80s and 90s. Communities were very community focused.
Yeah.
Like all the kids got together, they played together. Then they started taking the community away from us. They broke up you can't trust your neighbor. Your neighbor might be seducing your kids and all that. So now everybody's like, no, you're not going to Timmy's house anymore. Nope, we're not going outside and playing because kids are getting kidnapped now, right? Nope. Everybody, we're gonna play with people we know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and it's like now it's families. You don't want to be around your family. You don't want to be with friends you've known for years due to changing things. You've seen relationships change. So they're breaking us down.
They are
even
little by
further,
little, increment by increment. We are so alone now.
where now all of your friends are internet friends, and you don't have that personal touch with someone because you don't hang out with anyone physically. You're just in a chat room all day on Discord. Thankful that you're here on Twitch with us tonight.
Yes. But you gotta listen to us. We're trying to help you. That's the whole point of this program is we want to help you.
5% of them are bots.
Yeah. So what was it? Gun violence in this country started to double and triple between 2011 and 2014. I was reading all the stats the other day because I was curious. Do you know what else was big in between 2011 and 2014?
No, what was that?
You guys guess. Just take a guess. Just take a wild guess. Think about the bigger picture and tell me what you think was real big in between 2011 and 2014.
Oh, YouTube kind of blew up, didn't it?
War Demon has
War Demon started.
War Demon. Yep. Wolf said it.
Yeah, social
It
media.
was
Yeah.
it was the height of social media then. It was when they started to nope, no, well, not video games. Video games have not been linked to any of this. Video games are actually pretty good for you.
Yeah.
Social media and headlines, sensationalized headlines for for profit are really what took off then, So if you take somebody, you can feel energy, negative energy spreads. If you take somebody who is already disturbed and angry and you bombard them with nonstop anger, distrust, depressive shit, agenda, how long does it take before they break? You have to be a really strong person sometimes not to break. I mean, we've only been doing this for 2.5 years now, and almost everybody's broke or broken.
Yeah.
2 years. Imagine being a POW locked up and what they're doing to them for 8 years. Say locked up 6-8 years. How they would break. I mean, think about that for a minute. We're breaking in 2 years. My aunt and uncle have not allowed me to come home in 2.5 years.
That's
They're
crazy.
vaccinated, but they don't leave. They didn't even go to my nephew's wedding. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. They live with fear. Fear, 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 fear. They think everybody in Florida has the plague because the media manipulate all our numbers. At the end of the day, though, you can find out the truth if you really want to dig. So Florida's numbers were bullshit. And here's why. Not only did we retain our seat in the House of Representatives, we gained one. If we had all the deaths the media said, we would have lost a seat in the House of Representatives like California did.
And New York.
And New York.
Mm-hmm.
Which incidentally, all the media comes out of, wait for it, California and New York.
Except for CNN. They're in Georgia, unfortunately.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, CNN. Who does news in Atlanta? Come on, CNN.
But yes. Anyway, Larry, thank you for stopping in. We appreciate it. Have a great day at work. I know a lot of people have to get going for whatever, but yeah, desperation sets in, player. You're right. So it's something to think about. There's a bunch of things we can talk about. Like, here's one. You're required to have homeowners insurance to have a home. You're required to have car insurance for other drivers. You are required to have health insurance. But the most important insurance you should have, life insurance, you're not required to have. Why? Because they'll come and seize your assets. They don't care.
Yeah.
They do not care. They just want to make sure it's not going to come back on them. So you're joking, right, player, about DeSantis?
Yeah, I think he's making a joke.
Oh, you're being
John
sarcastic?
Lemon
Okay.
reports from Florida on his vacation with no mask on.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
like DeSantis said, all the California and New York ones that want the politicians that want you to wear the mask and get vaccinated, they come to Florida to take the mask off and enjoy their vacations and stuff
Yes,
like
they do.
that. So and they got plenty of pictures of all
Yes,
of them
we
down
do.
there hanging out. Right. But then they wanted to go after Ted Cruz when I think he left the country for a few days after some craziness happened and but here they are doing the same thing.
Yep. It's very interesting too that they tried to get as much mileage as they could out of the BLM to the point where people were putting BLM on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the protests up in Canada with the truckers, they wouldn't cover that at all. And they definitely didn't cover the one here in Washington with the truckers. There was nothing.
They tried to make it more so like about white supremacy and all that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
Because that's the other way that they like to put the divide in there.
And in all of that, they use race. All of it. They're using race and gender with all of it. They're trying to turn women against men, men against women, gay and trans. They're trying all of it. The black, white, border, non-border. They're trying to use abortion, no abortion. They're trying to use all of it.
You know what you won't hear about? that the Chinese guy that shot up the church in California, possible ties to the CCP, and that was a Taiwanese church.
Mhm.
So China doesn't like Taiwan. Send
Mhm.
a
They
guy
never
over
have.
there to go kill some Taiwanese people in a church. They're not talking about that. That one got swept under the rug pretty quickly.
Oh, what's the information on that one?
There's, they're not talking about it though. That's the thing. There's not too much. I think they just chalk it up to he's just crazy old guy.
Oh, is it? Okay, Chinese shooting.
I think it was the one that happened in the Laguna Beach, California shooting.
Oh, I think I did read about that.
Yep, it was right here. LA
Laguna
Times.
Woods.
The gunman in a deadly attack at Southern California church was a Chinese immigrant motivated by hate for Taiwanese people. So it was basically it was a hate crime.
Oh, I have the independent media is covering, but regular stuff. Too radical for Chinese Communist group. That's interesting. We aren't hearing much about that, are we?
Mm-mm.
I guess it doesn't fit the agenda, hey?
Nope. Well, China ultimately does want to take over Taiwan. A lot of people believe
That's
that
what started a
what we're
lot of
seeing
this.
here with Russia and Ukraine is kind of like China's just sitting back watching like, all right, we'll see how everybody reacts to Russia versus Ukraine. And then we'll see if they're going to let us just go and take Taiwan. But unbeknownst to China, I mean, China can have Taiwan, but Taiwan makes a lot of the computer chips and things like that for your computers and phones and cars, and they've got a lot of their factories rigged to blow up. So as soon as like they can their government has everything set up so that if China does come there, they can just pull one string and pull all the dominoes down, and China has to rebuild. They won't get any of their IP or any of the factories. They've got a self-destruct switch in place.
Well, a lot of people, I don't know if people know this, but in 2019, for a lot of the year of 2019, there were riots. And there were riots about a political prisoner from Taiwan. That's what started it in China. So the people were burning China to the ground. They were smashing things. I mean, what they did made the worst of the BLM look like child's play. They were burning government buildings. They were bombing. They were smashing. It was crazy with good reason. So the CCB came back, the riot police came back and started shooting them with rubber bullets. And then in October, they started using live rounds. And the first person they shot was a kid at point blank range in the face in October of 2019. And they started shooting the protesters with live rounds. And then 1 month later, a virus came out that sent everybody in.
Yep.
October, November. That virus has been around since November, at least. France admits it. They took tissue from current coronavirus, COVID. Then they took tissue from those who died from the mystery virus epidemic in November. It's the same thing. We had it here in Tampa Bay. We got hit real hard with it. And in November, early December, I got it then too.
Yeah.
I got the undiluted version. It was horrible. It was horrible. Haven't gotten it since, knock wood.
Same here.
Like natural immunity actually exists, I think. But nobody knows that that's what was going on. They have every reason in the world, China does, to have had that virus released on purpose. It was crowd control.
Yep.
I believe it was deliberately released and it got out of hand. And they knew about it before they signed the new trade agreements in December because they included a pandemic clause. And it was 100% on purpose.
That makes a lot of sense. I hadn't heard about the pandemic.
Oh, just research all. Don't take my word for any of this. Nothing. Take my word for nothing I have said tonight. Do your own research, as people love that term. Dig deeper.
China's also primed to drop $21 billion in its economy to help its struggling economy, because they wouldn't help buy out the Evergrande situation to save their struggling housing market, which is the only way that normal people in China can actually invest in their country
hmm
is to invest in real estate, and they they're shut down again, even though China's still about to do this 21 billion kind of what we did. We just gave money out of nowhere, but China's not inventing like creating this money. I think they have a lot of gold reserves. They got a lot of they're sitting on a lot of cash and strategic reserves and stuff like that. And I think you're gonna see China, you're gonna see us come down just a little as China starts to come up, and then you'll see China pass us in a few years. I
Oh,
have a
sorry,
feeling.
it wasn't Taiwan. It was Hong Kong. My
Hong
mistake.
Kong. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Which there's some rumors that with how things are going over there, you might see like Hong Kong kind of split off from
hmm
China again if things get worse. Yeah, it's a new strain of COVID from what I understand. Playa is what they're locking people up with over there in China.
They're dragging people from their homes. They're taking their pets, bagging them, putting them on the streets, and killing them. They're killing the pets, dragging people into camps. Yes, I put the front of the screen because I don't have all the magical tech that Colin does. Yeah, what's happening there? I feel really bad for the Chinese people, what they are going through at the hands of their government. And I would not be surprised if our government watches that with a little bit of awe and um, admiration.
How can we get that social credit score over here, guys? That's what they're
It
looking at.
is like a concentration camp. They are. They have been built. They've been built in Canada. They've been built in Australia. They have them. They're dragging people off to them in other countries. Again, the only thing standing between us and them are guns. That's why disarming us is a huge thing. And it's why I think we're going to see a lot of little shootings everywhere that are a big deal and involve kids on purpose. So, Amazon, speaking of social credit, Amazon is now suing film reviewers for bad reviews.
Oh, that's terrible. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's taken a social credit system to another level. But to be fair, if you want to look at that on both sides, there could be people who are, for whatever reason, haters, or they were supposed to work on the film and they didn't get cast, or whatever. They might make it their MO to trash a film for no apparent reason. There's that people are like that sometimes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening now too. So I mean, we're already kind of in the start of the social credit system to some degree. Reviews matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Most restaurants, April, they go off of the survey thing. When you go, I mean, even like going to PetSmart or Walmart, and they tell you to fill out the survey, give us all fives, all that type of stuff, right? And they circle it. They want you to do that, and they want you to give them all fives, because if you don't give them all fives, they don't get credit for that survey, and it actually brings their numbers down. So they don't even give you a credit for like a 4. So there's people out there that nothing is perfect. I don't give fives for anything, no matter what, right? So I'm going to do this survey just to get my free $5 off next time I go back in or whatever, right? And I'm just going to give all 3s. Or they give 5s for everything, and then they might have used your app to order, and they're not so happy about the app, which again is something that's out of your control. So they give a 2. And now your whole survey is because they don't count that. And it's kind of dumb in a way, because you're not really getting that full, like, I want to see how many people gave me 1s, how many 2s, how many 3s, how many 4s, how many 5s, and weight it somehow, instead of it just being all based on this is what it should be. And we weren't talking about Call of Duty. We were talking about I remember when you asked that, what was big in 2011 through 2014, and that was social media.
Mm-hmm. It's heights.
Yeah. We're kind of going through our own China versus Taiwan thing here in the United States, though, April, but we're just a little more sly about it. Have you heard about the lawmakers trying to put in a draft for the Puerto Rico Status Act?
I have not, but I saw the thing with the WEF now having their own police, and how one of our journalists got detained for no apparent reason. He was ex-military.
That's probably why.
Yeah. So,
Military.
and how the WHO now wants full control over multiple countries as far as their health. so they would have the final say in what we can do and if we have mandatory injections and everything. They're trying to vote on that now, so they would take control of us. That's what's going on right now. A lot of people, people aren't paying attention to it because they're watching Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Yes. But they are deciding our future right now in Switzerland.
Davos conference going on right now.
Yes. We need to pay attention to that. So what's going on with the Puerto Rico?
So the Puerto Rican status acts. Now, remember, we kind of talked about how Trump kind of was like, hey, they're going to do these certain things. Well, they're pushing, as they've done in the past. This isn't like the first time this has happened. Puerto Rico's had numerous chances to become a state with the United States, and they usually leave it up to the people of Puerto Rico to vote on whether or not they want to become a state. Well, the House is trying to draft a bill that would allow Puerto Rico to either become a state, become their own independent nation, or they can become their own independent sovereign nation with a free association from the United States. So they could be like Cuba, right? And you can talk or do whoever you want. We don't care. You don't have to rely on us. You can be your own independent state. The one option they're not giving Puerto Rico is to continue to be a territory.
Really?
So they're putting the gun to the head of the people of Puerto Rico and basically saying either you sink, you swim, or you become a state. And so it hasn't quite started.
Are they doing that to Hawaii as well?
No, I mean, Hawaii's maybe Guam.
Or Guam.
Yeah, Guam. I don't think so, because Puerto Rico is more of a state that they need, because what did they talk about? Trump said watch for Washington, D.C. to become a state and Puerto Rico to become a state. And those are the two that they're trying to push to make states so that they can add more seats.
Okay, so we would go. Okay.
So we would have more senators, and then we would also have more House seats. And usually those states are going to be voted more blue than red, especially Puerto Rico, because the last image we have of Puerto Rico is Trump throwing towels out at everybody. You get a towel and you get a roll of paper towels. And they didn't really like that all that much. So
I don't know if a lot of people like Trump. He was not a very likable person, but he did not have a filter, and that was the one redeeming quality that he had. He seemed real.
Do you have 6 states join the union, Gam? Is that what you're talking about? They're looking to add 6 states total? That would be crazy. Try to add more territories into states. But yeah, I mean, as long as Guam's in there, I'm surprised they're not trying to get a lot of those Pacific islands and things that we own as territories added into the statehood.
And did you see there was an inner Earth world? They found a sinkhole in China. And when they followed that sinkhole down and went real far, they found a giant forest down there with giant trees. So in the middle of the Earth.
It's the hollow Earth theory.
Yes. Yeah. So they now think, they're sending, scientists down there. They now think that there could be an entire ecosystem down there. Like they have their own animals, they have their own stuff down there. So either we're about to discover something interesting, or the people in Middle Earth are going to be like, the people, the animals, everything in Middle Earth is going to be like, oh, fuck, they finally found us out.
Go kill them now. It's time.
Life was good until now,
Oh, yeah. So here, Wolfer says, eventually Guam, America, Samoa, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Northern Mariana Islands will join the Union, too. So, in the future, they could add, 4 more states on top of the 2 that we talked about there. That's really funny that you said that about that hole. I have a friend, he does a movie review podcast called the Hodgepodge Podcast. And they were talking about, it's a show that's kind of like Stranger Things. I think it's called like Outer Range or something like that. And the gist of the show is there's this hole. And apparently if you go in the hole, it sends you into the future. And so like, that's like varies like the hole that you talk about. So like in the spoiler alert, I don't know if any of you watched the show or whatnot, but one of the guys, he gets pushed in the hole. And when he goes out the other side, somebody on the other side recognizes him, right? And was like, like, what are you doing here? You died like 2 years ago, like, or 2 days ago or something like that. Like, how are you alive? And then the lady was like, you need to run and get out of here. And he runs back through the portal. So now there's all kinds of weird shenanigans with who's trying to own the portal and all these other things. But that might be a really interesting show
What
to,
is it
to
called?
check out. Outer Range, I think.
Out of
Let me
Range.
Google search it here.
So I
Because
saw. I'll look.
I had just heard
I love
about it
that
for
kind of
the.
stuff. I'll watch that.
Oh yeah, okay. So Outer Range. Yep, it's got Josh Brolin.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're a fan of Josh Brolin.
I'm
He's
not.
he's the main character. So yeah,
Yeah, I'll watch. I'm not a fan of anybody, really.
Thanos.
Oh,
Thanos is the main character of your Outer
okay.
Range.
So another TV show that is definitely worth watching is The Time Traveler's Wife. It is entertaining, funny, and trippy as anything. So this dude is a time traveler, and he found out pretty young as a kid that he could time hop. And it's mostly within his own timeline of his life,
Mhm.
but sometimes a little bit further. And um, he all the stuff goes on in his life, and he keeps getting transported back to those moments. And of course, there is his wife is the one constant in his timeline there, and she's very entertaining on how she puts up with all of it. He just disappears, his coffee mug drops, his clothes are gone, and wherever he ends up naked, and he has
Like
to
Quantum
fight.
Leap.
Exactly, and he has to like fight somebody in steel to get covered up, and he's like, it's always a shenanigans, like he's just drops out of the sky and he's naked and running and trying to not die. So it's very entertaining, very entertaining.
There's a lot of shows with alternate realities and
I
different
love that
timelines
stuff.
and things like that. So I feel like they're grooming us for something here. They're setting us for something where it's going to be like you're going to see April Hunter from like an alternate dimension come in, and she's going to be like Queen of the Earth. And
Yeah, that's me. Bow to my feet, peons. No, I don't think that time is linear. I think that we perceive time to be linear in this particular dimension. But the more I'm opening my mind, the more I'm talking to people who know a lot more than I do, the more
Mhm.
I'm paying attention to things, I am starting to think that there's a possibility that time is different in different realms, just like astral travel. Kind of like we talked about when Linda was on the show. If you haven't seen that show with Linda, man, you got to go back and watch 2 shows
Yeah.
ago before the replay one. It'll blow your mind. I mean, she was mind blowing with the ET show, the extraterrestrial show, with the consciousness and how our minds are so much more powerful and strong than we think. And we can do a lot with them, and we can receive and send a lot with them, and we can travel, remote viewing and astral travel and telekinesis and teletransport, like all of it. And that's why some people can see things and get visions and can move things with their mind and can do astral travel because they've worked at it. We can all do it. Everybody can do it.
Mhm.
Just some people will work at it, and other people just are like, oh, that's shit. And they'd rather just sit there and have a drink and watch TV. They're Cro-Magnon people. And people who are curious are like, I want to use the Force. I want to be a fucking Jedi. And they're like, and they're doing the work.
War Demon brings up a good point about that hole in China. This is where Bigfoot, the Yetis, Loch Ness Monster, and all the cryptids are. April, have you seen the newest Godzilla versus King Kong that came out?
Mm-mm.
In that movie, they go into a hole in the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a whole nother world where Kong and Godzilla supposedly came from. And there's like supposedly more Kongs that used to live there, and there's other big giant monsters and things like that. But that's basically like a hole in the earth, where Godzilla and Kong go to fight each other at a certain point in time. So it's like they're setting these things up.
I
that-
heard it was really good.
yeah, it was yeah. I hadn't watched very like the precursor ones to set up to that Kong. Like I hadn't seen Kong or any of the previous Godzilla movies, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
Oh, Tin Goliath. That's interesting. Don't be giving spoilers and shit.
There was
So
an anime that I watched called Steins Gate, and it is, you know, the story of John Teeter and the IBM computer and how he used all of that to travel back in time. John Teeter was supposedly a real person who said that he came from like 2022 or 2024 back to let me do my search real quick on John
really,
Teeter. Let's see. He is used on the Time Travel Institute and Art Bills. Let's see. A guy used to claim that he was in the American military time traveler from 2036.
wait, this really happened? This is real?
Yeah.
Can I go to a time travel institute? Because I want to go. Will you guys send me, sponsor me to go? Because I will bring that shit back and tell everything.
Look, this was back in 2000, 2001 when he used to post in Art Bill's forums. They try to say that it was just a giant elaborate hoax, but what he says is that he had to get one of the main components that he needed to get here was a IBM 5100 computer. And in the anime, they have the guy finds like an IBM 5100 computer and he sends future texts to himself. So he's sending messages to the future, and only he realizes that it's changing things. And he does these weird little experiments to see like what changes and if things change like that. And it's a really good anime because it plays off, if you know the conspiracy theories around John Teeter and time travel and all that stuff, it plays into that a little bit. And it gets into the weird time travel where it's like, okay, well, what if someone else knows that you're time traveling because they time travel too and they can see all the changes that you're making? And it's about 20 episodes. It's a really good anime if you're into anime. It's called Steins Gate.
I would check it out. Oh, there's light in my hair.
But apparently, the reason why he needed this IBM 5100 computer because it was the computer that created all the languages that we use on our computers now. So it can read in multiple computer languages that we don't even use anymore.
You have to send me that. I have to check that out.
You'll have to look into John Teeter. It's amazing.
I love that stuff. I
Definitely
honestly, I think that the future looks very, very interesting. I think that we have a lot more power than we realize. I think we have to realize that we have to stop being manipulated. We have to, see things for what they are. We have to stop being dumb. Stop believing everything we hear and see. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I think we have a really, really interesting future ahead of us. I think we are very, very young as a species, and we have a long way to go. And we have to be careful because what we're doing now will shape the future. And we need to make sure that we shape it the right way. And we always need to remember there's more of us than there are them. So we need to stand together. It's very, very important. So make sure that you tell your people and get on your social media and emphasize that being united is always key. Don't play into the hate and the race and the divide and the gender bullshit. Don't play into all the news fuckery that's going on. That's what they want. And they make money with all the clicks and all that stuff too. You're letting someone else get richer while you're just dragging your own vibe and energy down further and everybody around you. So yeah. So raise yourself up. Raise everybody up around you.
Question everything.
Question everything and follow your gut feeling, your intuition. If your gut feeling and intuition tell you something's not right, something is fucking not right. Keep digging. It is always, always the way to go.
It's true.
So, yeah. You got anything else to say here? Thank you.
We got some Corgos in the chat.
Yeah, we got some Corgos. We got Corgos. Thank you for the Corgos. Woo! You guys send bits, and we do the pec flex there. Thank you for sending the bits and for subscribing. Thank you for being on Patreon, patreon.com, the A Show. I know I was wondering if there's dragons down there too, like the all the mermaids and the dragons and the stuff that's out there that people swear they see. It's got to be the Bigfoots.
I just pulled up that article from like First Post, and it says the headline is "A Wonderful World: A Prehistoric Forest Found in a massive sinkhole in China
Yeah. Can you show it?
with trees up to 130 feet tall. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah. Share that. It's so interesting.
I'll put the let me put a link in the
That's a big
Chat.
sinkhole. Are there more pictures?
let me scroll down. Yeah, I'm putting the link in the chat. So if anybody wants to go. So it says there are 30 sinkholes in China's Leh County. This is the largest at 306 meters long, 150 meters wide, and 192 meters deep. Wow, that's
What kind of forest animals do you think are in there? Like how big are the deer and stuff?
God, I mean, if you let that stuff just go, they're gonna get ginormous.
Right.
Imagine like what they're eating down there. They're gonna find like dinosaurs and shit down there. There's no other pictures. It just kind of talks about the sinkhole and kind of the area around
Yeah.
there with all the sinkholes.
So Cam's talking about MLK, Malcolm X, the government killed JFK and Tupac. Cam, so with JFK, the CIA, shortly after JFK, the term conspiracy theorist was coined by the CIA to discredit people who questioned the government. So that's where this comes from. So know that by using the word conspiracy theorist against other people, you are once again using the propaganda that the government wants you to use, because they came up with that on purpose for this. They don't want you to question anything. They want you just to blindly accept. So you guys are better than that. You're smarter than that. You have more intuition than that. I know that. I've talked to many of you outside of this. So keep doing your thing. Shine the light forward. Push it forward. Share it forward. Be the light other people need to see. We all need to see that right now. So do that. Okay? And remember, everybody's struggling with some shit out there. So be kind. Be patient. Hurt people. So thank you for being on here tonight, Colin. Thank you for
You're
co-hosting with me. We hope you feel better. Thanks to all of you for being here with us. And I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday at 7:30. And go ahead, Colin. You can flex with me. Twitch on Twitch.
I'm gonna get the eye in there.
There you go. The eye horse.
There you go.
Rocket. So thanks you guys so much for being here. I'm doing some live appearances coming up in January. In Florida, every month feels the same. In June. So I'll be around Florida in June. Again, I'll be in Leesburg. I will be in Tampa Bay. So hopefully I will see some of you at Lake Collecticon and Tampa Bay Screams. I'm also judging a Ironman Tri-Fitness competition on Friday.
Cool.
If you guys are at that show, I will be one of the judges. Yes, be nice until it's time to not be nice. Dalton. So you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you on social media and see you here next week. So thank you.
You guys.